Oh, there's George. Jorge. Sorry, I was calling George. Jorge.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Lois.
I cannot figure out what's going on here.
I'm not surprised.
Oh, don't make fun of me. They don't know me.
They can't see you. They have no idea who they're talking to.
I'm a blob.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey John, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Sorry I'm late there.
That's okay. Everyone's always a couple minutes late. So I was going to ask, would you guys want to move this earlier? Like, would 5 o'clock work next week?
Whatever works for you.
I know some people have kids and yeah, okay, good. So I know some people have kids or whatever and second jobs. So I'm just trying to work around all that. So I'm going to move this to 5 o'clock moving forward. So that way we're not all like here till late and we can get on with our evenings. So that's cool. So some of you have logged into zipforms before, but it's so it's a site that we use to write sales contracts. So everyone will have, once you get your license active, you become a member of the National Association of Realtors and you'll get a login to zipforms. So I'm going to use my njar.com. This is how I log in. There's other ways, but I have my password saved. So this is the way I always log in. It's easiest. Then I'm going to scroll down to the online forms. And I'm recording all this and I'll post it in the Facebook group so you guys can rewatch it. So when you're writing up a sales contract, sometimes you need to find out the other agent's license number. You can find that by clicking on this New Jersey real estate license search and typing the person's last name and office, and their license number will come up. Because some MLSs, it's hard to find it. So this is an easy way. Some MLSs post the real estate, like our real estate, it's called REC ID, REC ID. Some of them posted in the MLS, some of them you have to dig for it. So, but this is an alternate way to find it. So my sign in is an old sign in that I've had forever, but it'll probably be your EXP email address. I'm just going to sign in. Can you guys see my screen? I should have asked.
Yes.
I can't.
Okay. You can't see it, Lois?
I'm sorry. Maybe I should go to bed.
Well, that's okay. We can't. Now you're back to being an orange blob again.
I'm not even here. I don't see it. Oh, I see your screen now, I think.
Well, that's good.
Dashboard and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, I see it. Yay. I don't know how
All
that
right.
happened. I'm sorry, guys. Just excuse me.
All
I'm
right,
just a
so
blob.
all the forms that you need to write in contract are in this forms tab. So you just click on forms, and then another window will populate here with all the forms that we would need. Also as an EXP agent, Jeffrey Kist has created a Google Drive that has all the contracts there as well. However, they're not fillable. So these are all fillable if you get them from here. So I'm going to go to forms that we use a lot. Our consumer information statement. That's the first form you're going to use when you meet a client. There's 4 different forms here. We're supposed to use statement A. So make sure you know that, the first one. Contract of sale, form 118 is right below it. And then another form that I encourage every agent to use is exclusive buyer agency agreement. That is an agreement between you and your buyer, so that they're kind of bound to you for a period of time, so you don't show them a house and they go see that house with another agent and buy it from them. This kind of protects you from that. And unfortunately in this business, it can happen. Oops, where's my forms? Go back, go to forms. Okay. depending on where you are and where you sell, the other forms that you might use are there's a swimming pool addendum. If people have underground oil tanks, there's an addendum if you're selling a condo.
Oops. Sorry.
For those of you that don't know, that's the AOL "you've got mail" sound.
Oh, God.
Informed consent dual agency. So if you're selling a listing that's an EXP listing, there's an informed consent to dual agency form in here. So this is where you'll find all the forms. So what I want to show you how to do is we're going to set up a basic template. So anytime you write a contract, you can just come into the template and not have to look for the forms, and you will have everything pretty much filled out. So I'm just going to go back one more time. Let's see if I can move this across the bottom, maybe. There we go. So I'm going to go to templates. Across the top, it says dashboard, forms, transactions, and templates. So we'll go to templates. So I'm going to create a new one by clicking on new with the blue plus sign here. And then it turns green when you hover over it. And we're going to do new purchase offer. This window just popped up. I don't know if it pops up for you guys too.
Mhm.
And then we're going to create a name. So we're just going to say contract purchase template. And we're going to mark residential. And then I'm going to leave this checked to not apply automatically to templates. And then select templates. It's going to be mine. And then there's the option to save it. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. So right now there's nothing in that folder we created. So we're going to add documents. So to add the documents, you can just go on the left side and click on all forms. So I'm going to go ahead and add the consumer information statement. They could just, yeah, you just click on it and it'll appear. Contract of sale. Oops. Exclusive buyer agency agreement. There's two of them. I'm going to choose the first one.
What's the difference? The other one has like a rebate on it or something, correct?
Yeah, so in the state of New Jersey, you can give, like you'll see sometimes people will give a rebate to their client. Like we wanted to give our nephew a rebate, but if you've already written the contract, you're not legally allowed to give anybody money back at closing unless you have this rebate form signed. So if you're going to work with, like, let's say if you work with a VA, and part of your deal is you give your VA people a rebate back, you'd have to have this form filled out prior to signing a contract contract to purchase. So, yep, that would be the other one, but I haven't used that one. So
I accidentally downloaded that one before I downloaded the other one.
gotcha. Like, wait a minute, I don't want to give him my commission. I haven't earned it yet.
Yeah, I was like, I'm in the wrong spot.
And I'm going to go ahead and put the informed consent to dual agency in there just so I have it in there. There's another non-exclusive buyer agency agreement. So if you're working with somebody, let's say they're looking down in Cape May area with you guys down in South Jersey, but yet they're working up in Union County. You're like, well, I'm not going all the way up to Union County. I'm not going to have them sign a buyer agency agreement that's exclusive to me. That's not fair to them. So you would just have a buyer agency agreement where they can work with other realtors, except for you're going to work with them in the following towns or counties. I usually do it by county. So that's it. What else can I add? I'm going to go ahead and add the condo addendum in here. I'm going to add the septic. I'm going to add the well. I'm going to add the VA loans and the condo addendum and the, oops, one more. And the property sale contingency. So if a buyer is buying a property and they have a property to sell in order for them to qualify for the purchase, that would be an addendum that you would have them sign. In today's market, very few sellers will accept a contingency. So you really want to get them qualified without having to sell. Oh, and there's one more major form I need to add. This transaction cover sheet, the top one, is super important because when you fill out this transaction sheet, let's see if it'll let me move it. No, all right. So that should be the first one you download. When you fill out the sheet with your information and the buyer's information and the seller's information and the property information, it will populate into all the documents for you, so you don't have to enter into each document. So that's why this form is so great. I'm not going to fill this in because I have one already filled in, so I'm just going to kind of go through what you would fill in. So let me go to a template I have saved already that's all filled out. I'll save us some time here. Go back. Sales contract buyer agency. I'm going to go ahead and open this one. I don't have all those documents in there because I don't use them all, but this is just my basic standard one. So I have this hopefully filled out. So you are the selling broker. It's confusing that it says we should be buyer broker, but the listing broker is the other agent. So we're the selling broker. So if you download these 4 things in here and you fill out this transaction cover sheet with the minimum of all of your information, so you don't need the selling broker info, you don't need a selling broker name, that would be Jeffrey Kiss. We don't need his information because his information doesn't populate into the contract. So what we're filling in this is only information that populates into the contract. So this is the office rec ID number, and this is my rec ID number, and then everything else is just the fax number is the same as the office number, and we all get our own extension. So if you guys set up all this stuff in advance, you can use this template and you won't have to enter that information every time. So I'm going to go on to another one that's filled out even further. Karen Harris is the last deal that I did. So the buyer on this property is Karen Harris. All I'm filling in is her name, her address, not her phone number, not her email address, because none of that information will populate into the contract.
That's her current address before she purchases.
Yep. Yep. And if you have a second purchaser, so if it's a husband and wife, you add the husband's name here. And if their address is different, you only put one address because the contract only allows you to put in one buyer address. So just put in one of the addresses. It doesn't really matter whose. And then you put in the seller information. So I have the seller was an LLC in this case. I have the street address, city, state. I didn't put the zip in. I didn't have what it was. And if there was another seller, I would have put that, but there was only one seller. The listing broker information, I put in all of their information, their rec ID, the street address, the listing agent, her rec ID, her cell phone number, and her email address. So in the contract, her number will populate and her email address. All this stuff here will populate into the contract. The other stuff you don't need to have, so I'm not adding it. The property address. So I put in all of this stuff. That this is the property that is being sold, the address. So it's different than the seller's address in this case, because the seller is an LLC, they don't live there, the property is rented out to a tenant.
Now, if it was the same, would you only have to fill out the one up top?
No, you still have to fill out both.
Okay.
Yep. Good question though. Legal description. I only filled out stuff that populates into the contract, so you don't need any of these things You don't need any of that. You don't need any of that. Even like these, it says property includes and excludes. If you type those in, they still don't populate into the contract. So I'm not sure why. So I don't fill those out, but the purchase price populates in. The deposits will populate in, and the settlement date is the closing date. So these dates will all populate in. The lot and block number, which you can get from the listing or the tax records, those populate in. And that's pretty much all that populates in. So let me go ahead and show you what this looks like. Contract of sale. So there are certain things that, even though I put them in the contract, who I represent, I had to check this box. I represent the buyer, not the seller. All this stuff populated in for me.
That's really nice. I like that.
You haven't used this, Lois?
No,
Okay. All this populates in. The county didn't populate in, but everything else did, or I forget which one, but one of these don't populate in for whatever reason, so you have to add it. So I added the county by itself. All the numbers added it in, populated in for me. So these things here, I added to my template. So what I want you guys to do is, I will probably email this to you as a completed document. You can create a template, and I'll highlight everything that you should add into your template, because when you go to write a contract, let me go back to the original one that we saved. Where's the one that I just created? I gotta do some deleting here. Oh, here we go, this one. So when you write a sales contract, a lot of the things are going to be the same every single time. The only thing you're going to want to change are the buyer, the seller, and the listing agent. Everything else, when you write a contract, will stay the same. So if we fill out all these things and you save it, all these. So I'm going to go ahead and just do it. So the escrow money is held in. I always put seller's attorney trust account. On or before, I always write 5.
or are.
5, there we go. 5 days after AR. And you have to battle with the calendar because it wants to populate. So 5 days after attorney review complete. And then if there's an additional deposit, I would write one, but I usually collect them all in the first deposit because I don't want to have to hunt down my buyer for a second deposit. Account of the seller's attorney. And then for term of mortgage, I always write 1+ years because we don't know what the buyer is gonna, how many years they're gonna finance for. They could be doing a 10 and 15 or a 20 year. So I just do 1+, and then payments to be determined. I just do TBD to keep it as generic as possible. And then mortgage commitment, I write 30 days. Again, the calendar, you got to fight the calendar. 30 days after. Now, Jackie in South Jersey, you guys really don't use attorneys. So I would ask Michael, what they do in that case.
Okay.
Now, I just
Listen,
want to
we'll
be
take,
clear. When you say South Jersey, what part of Jersey are you talking about?
I would say south of Ocean County.
Okay.
Yep. And maybe even east, like Bright MLS. I think they don't use attorneys very often either. Actually, no, they do.
So
'Cause
weird in one state.
yeah. So items included in the sale, I always write all per MLS number, and then I would put whatever that number is. And then I would type out washer, dryer, refrigerator. So I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as the MLS number, for example. And then I would put all per MLS, and I would write washer, dryer, kitchen, refrigerator, and all per MLS number. If there's any exclusions, they would be listed in the listing, and I would do all per MLS number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dining room chandelier, for example. The certificate of occupancy is a big deal. This says if you leave it blank, it would be 1.5%. So I put a dollar amount in there. I just put $750. Every attorney seems to be happy with that amount. So that's kind of what I've been doing, and it doesn't get messed with. The seller, I just checked this box, has not been notified. And then they're buying this as a single family residence. Tenancies, there's no tenants. If there were tenants, you would have to list their name, what apartment they occupy, what rent they're paying, and what security deposit there is, and when their lease expires. For me, lead paint is usually applicable. I sell old homes. I never leave anything blank, because if you leave something blank, somebody else can fill it in for you. So I just write in the numbers. That's not applicable. All these things are always the same for me, and they'll probably be the same for you, a lot of this stuff. These you don't have to check, because it says we check not applicable above. I always try to tighten up the amount of days. 14 days is a long time, so I'm making these all 10. I'll keep that 7. So anything that's 14 days, I like to make 10 days. So this information down here would all populate in from the contract, so I'm not gonna do anything with that. And then I'm gonna represent the buyer's agent. They are acting as the seller's agent, actually. Actually, this is the other way around. This is the seller's agent, and this is the buyer's agent, okay. They're not a licensed agent, so I'll just tack not applicable. And that's pretty much. So when you go back to your, oops, I hit, oh, it saved it, good. I forgot to hit save. Let's see. So when you go back to your contract, the original contract, if all this other stuff is already filled in for you, it makes writing a contract so much faster. Like the first time you write a contract, it's probably going to take you 3 hours. But all these things that I filled in are in the template that I saved. So every time I go, let me go back to the template we just saved, actually, that'd probably be better. So every time I write a contract, I'm going to go to this, I'm going to go across the board, go to templates, go to my template contract to purchase, hit this little arrow, I'm gonna copy the transaction. Save it as March. As my new client, so I'll just say new client, March 8th. And I'm gonna hit save. So now my new client, all I have to do is go to the transaction cover sheet. Add new buyer, so buyer 1, street address 123 M, city, AP, state, and J. I'm just doing abbreviation, so you'll see every line fills in. 07712. And I'm gonna go to the seller. Same thing. Seller 1, 3, 4, 5 main, AP, NJ, 07712. And then I scroll down. I didn't save my selling broker information, but this would have been already in here. I wouldn't have had to fill that out. So all you would have to fill in is the listing broker information, and that would populate in. So let's do that. So I'll just do Kimberly Newsom. Oh no, wait. Just call it Space is the name of that company. License ID 123456. Address. Bond Street. AP. NJ. 07712. Listing agent name is Kimberly Newsom, so KN. Her rec ID is 6543321. And her cell phone number 732-999-999. And her email address 123@AOL. And the property information, so we'll put the address 301 first. Oops. All right, we'll take that information that populated. I don't know where that's from. I'm selling the property in South Carolina. Purchase price, we're gonna buy it for $150,000. Deposit, I'm gonna put down $5,000. And we wanna close on March 31st. We'll do lot number 2, block 3. I'm gonna buy it as a, I don't think this, if I check this box, nothing happens, but I'm gonna check it anyway to see if anything does. I'm gonna check conventional, see if that sticks with it. I haven't had luck with this working for me. And that's all we need. So I'm gonna hit save. I'm gonna go back. And we'll go to the contract. So I gotta check, I represent the buyer, that didn't populate. But the buyer 1 populated, the seller populated. The buyer and seller populated, so all that information populates in. So it didn't populate the county, so whatever county. Oh, no, it didn't populate the city, so that would be Asbury Park, whatever. So you'd fill that in. Oops. So your initial deposit showed up, everything else showed up, so everything was good, but see all the other stuff is in, you just gotta kind of glance over and make sure the right type of loan is chosen. My closing date populated, but all the other stuff, you don't have to sit there and go through and check it all and read it all because we've already saved all that stuff in a template. So you always got to hit save. And then the consumer information statement, let's take a look at that. So the buyer's information populated in and the real estate company above populated in. I didn't put mine in, that's why it didn't populate, but hopefully this will populate in, but if not, you're the licensee and eXp Realty is the brokerage, and you would check the buyer's agent and dual agent if the opportunity arises. So I'll just go ahead and fill this in. I'm gonna actually go back to the transaction cover sheet and see if it will populate in there. Oops. See if it populates in. I'm going to try with one other line. Let's see if they have it set up wrong.
That top line probably, selling broker firm name.
Yeah, I'm going to try that, see if that works. Nope. I wonder why, that's weird. Okay. Have to send them a message. Let's see if it populated in the buyer agency. Just, it did there though. That's interesting. So you'd have to type your name in as a licensee and the name of the firm. I always check buyer's agent and dual agent if the opportunity arises on that disclosure. And then when it starts, I always have it last for 6 months. And then the fee payable, I usually put 2.5%, and you have to write out the word percent. I won't let you use the percent sign. So let me just check all this stuff.
Why can't you use a percent sign
It won't let you for some reason.
on this template?
Yeah,
Because I always use it.
yep. And then I always have it expire 60 days after the end of the contract date. And then write in, I'll just write Monmouth County. There we go. Save that. Informed consent dual agency. Let's see if that filled out. That filled out.
Yay.
I didn't put in the company address, but all that would have filled out too, if I would have put it on a transaction sheet. So that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go back to my Karen Harris contract.
Karen contract, huh?
Yeah. Did I fill this one out? Yeah, it's so weird that certain things don't populate.
It is kind of weird.
So I have all these contracts downloaded and saved on my computer blank, and they're fillable. The only bad part about doing something like that is if they make an update, obviously your contract won't be the most updated form. These forms get updated every once in a while, so it could be an issue. But I have a I just have it available so I can do it offline if I want to. Okay, so go back.
What do you mean offline?
Like you don't have to, like you have to be, in order to access this site, you have to have an internet connection.
Oh,
So let's say I'm on an airplane or something and I want to write a contract. I wouldn't be able to do it.
are you on airplanes again?
Maybe in May.
Ah,
Let's see here. March. All right, so now I'm going to show you guys, once you get the contracts filled out, how you get them signed. So I'm going to go to an old one here. Let's go to Smith Barton. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do this dual agency one, Cuervo. Yeah, that's a good one. I think it's all filled out. Yep, okay. All right, so I got a lot of forms in here. So this is a dual agency one. So I'm gonna have dual agency form, consumer information statement. I'm just checking the box in each upper left-hand corner. Contract of sale. Lead paint disclosure. I would get that from the listing agent. Sale contingency, there was no sale contingency. Owner's confirmation of receipt of written offer. I like to use those even though I never get them back. It just looks more official. And then the exclusive buyer agency agreement. The owner's confirmation of written offer. You know, a lot of times we all want to know if our offer was presented, and this basically gets a signature that says it was presented to the seller. A lot of
You
agents.
said you usually never get them back?
No. No. Well, if it's accepted, I'll get it back. But yeah, usually because you send it as a package, you rarely get it back.
wait, Renee Sparks?
Yeah, we wrote an offer on her house and she didn't accept it.
She lives across the street from me, Jorge. I'm like,
Like,
whoa.
how does she know her? Yeah, I was like, oh, you know her?
Yeah, I do know
All right.
her.
So those 4 documents, I'm going to download them all. So I have them checked. I'm going to go across the middle of the page here and click on this download.
And then you're going to bring them in a digisign.
Yeah, you got to save them to your computer. Okay, they're saved. So show in folder. I'm going to extract. Extract all. I'm going to browse where I want to put it. So we'll just create a new folder in my call it one test. And then I will dump it all in there. So the other documents you want to also include when you're going to send it out for digital signature are you want a copy of the MLS sheet. You want the buyer's pre-approval. You would like the lead paint disclosure. And you would want a property, seller's property disclosure. I just call it seller's disclosure for short. So you would want to upload all 4 of those documents into DigiSign as well. So I'm going to see if I can find.
Your screen, I don't know if it's everybody else, but your screen's frozen for me.
Oh, I'm on a landline too. So that's.
No, it's not frozen for me.
You're not frozen though. I can see you move, Jorge. Let's see.
He's a bot.
Yeah, I hear you fine. It's just my screen's frozen.
Mine is
Are-
too.
Oh, yours
I
is
see
too?
Yeah.
Yours isn't, but you can't see me, so it doesn't. It's all hit or miss. Right?
I kept on clicking this close button from download zip file. I thought that was my own screen.
That's
I thought it
exactly
was
what I
too,
see
but I
now.
didn't try.
So you guys cannot see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Lois can, I can't.
Oh,
You can't
I
see the.
didn't either.
all right. Well,
Oh,
I'm
I
going to
see.
keep going and you
Oh,
guys can.
okay, yeah, you're good right there then.
All
Wait,
right, so
what
now
were
I'm
you
gonna
just
go
doing
in-
then?
Oh, you know why? All right. I don't think it froze. I think we were just, I didn't move a screen. So now can you see my sky slope screen?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yay. All right.
Yeah, I was stuck at that close button.
Oh,
There we go. I know that.
I do too. This is at least something I'm familiar with.
all right. So if we're gonna have a contract sign, we're using this far right tile called DigiSign. You're gonna click on DigiSign. And then you're gonna click on this green new envelope button on the right. And then you're gonna click on this blue no property button.
You're in front of, this is in front of it. Your screens.
Yeah. And now I'm going to click on this blue upload and upload the documents that I want signed. So what I like to do first, and this is a little shortcut to use the templates to speed things up. Where's my one test? There it is. I'm gonna upload just the sales contract first. And I'm going to click on this blue choose template key or whatever you want to call it. And then I have a bunch of templates set up in here, but Jeffrey Kist, since all of our accounts are in the state of New Jersey, he has templates set up for us that you can use. So I'm going to go down to the template that he has. It's called contract of sale form zip contract of sale form zip forms buyer. You're going to click apply, then you'll click done. And now I'm going to show you what that looks like. Oops, I'm on Eric's account. I did this last time too. I'm going to go ahead and add a buyer. Smith. And their email address, 123@aol.com. And then I only have one purchaser, but if I had a second purchaser, I would add them here. I'm going to uncheck that box so that field will disappear. And then you want your name to be top. So I'm going to move Eric to the top because he's the agent, and then the buyer would be below it. And then I'm going to hit next. And everywhere you need the buyer to sign and yourself, it's all filled in for you. So you don't
Wait, I
have
want to see what Renee was gonna get.
Let me see. She was gonna get $350.
She didn't take that?
Nope.
She put that like in foreclosure. In good shape.
Yep.
She's
So
not
let's
gonna
say,
sell it anymore, she told me.
oh really?
Yeah, she's just gonna. She said, why am I leaving? I like my house, I like my neighborhood.
So let's say you're going through the contract, you go, oh, I forgot to put in the commission. So you can go up here and click on writable field, the word writable, and
Yeah,
then just click where you want it. And then you can add your commission in there, and then it would be saved. So that's how you would do that. So everything is in the way you want it. So now that we know that, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back one more time, and I'm going to upload the rest of my documents. So I'm going to upload the consumer information statement, the exclusive buyer agency agreement, informed consent to dual agency, owner's receipt of offer. And don't forget again, I'm going to upload an MLS sheet. I'm going to upload a pre-approval. I'm going to upload the lead paint disclosure. I'm going to upload the seller's disclosure because I want them to sign all those as well. Even though it's not a place for them.
I was
I
gonna say,
think
where
it's
do you have them sign the MLS?
just at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what, just to confirm that that's the property that you're moving forward on?
Yeah, and we had an incident once where an agent went to closing, and the listing agent had in the MLS central air conditioning. Well, they went to closing, did the walkthrough, and there was no central air
I
conditioning.
remember that house.
Yeah. So it can stuff like that can happen. So you want to make sure, and that way the seller is going to see it, and they're going to hopefully sign it as well. So everyone is agreement what's included with that property. And I have them just sign the mortgage thing on the bottom. I have them sign the, the lead-based paint. I have them sign that in all the spots. Actually, I'm going to go upload one of those.
What mortgage, what are you sending them for the mortgage? Like the
Just to approve
pre-approval
the whole,
or?
the pre-approval.
Okay.
Like they're going to send it to you and you're going to send it back to them for them to sign it.
Gotcha.
Just at the bottom anywhere. Let's see, lead paint. Where's the lead paint?
It was built after 78.
I'm looking for another one. Here we go, lead paint and seller disclosure. And MLS sheet. Yeah, there we go. We'll upload them all. Only thing I don't have is a pre-approval here. So what I like to do is I like to put these in a certain order. So I'm going to drag the contract or consumer information statement to the top. Informed consent to dual agency should be right after that.
Oh shit.
I guess I'll move the exclusive buyer agency up. So I'm going to move this at the end. And I'll move, that's good. MLS sheet, where'd the contract go? Oh, there it is. Move the contract up right below the MLS sheet. So I have my consumer information statement, my informed consent to dual agency, exclusive buyer agency agreement, MLS sheet. I have the lead paint and seller's disclosure, contract of sale, and the owner's confirmation of receipt of written offer. And I would also have in there the pre-approval. So I'm going to hit next. I'm going to hit next. So then I want the buyer to sign the consumer information statement, So you just click on signature, click there, and then date and time signed, click there. Dual agency, so signature, the agent would have to sign it. So you want to change the signer, you just click on that and Eric's going to sign that. And then the buyer is going to sign over here. Change it back to buyer. This is the exclusive buyer agency agreement. Oh, I didn't check a box there, so we're going to check a box. And I didn't put in a commission. So 2.5%. Let's drag it up a little bit more. And then we're going to pretend I have the days in there. And then the buyer would sign it, date it, and then I'm going to sign it. Here's the MLS sheet. Have them sign that, just at the bottom. Lead-based paint disclosure. So they have to initial B and C and check a box. If they were providing us information that said they had lead-based paint remediated, or they had evidence that they had it, we would have gotten information and then you would initial A. But since we are just going to assume that there's no lead-based paint, we're going to initial that one. We'll initial there. And I just always check the box, receive the 10-day opportunity. And I just change it to myself so they can't change that by accident. And then I'm going to sign it as a listing agent. Oops. Signature, listing agent, date and time signed. And we'll change date and time signed, change it to the buyer. Property seller disclosure. Now, if you sell a listing and they don't have a seller's disclosure, you have to have the buyer sign a form that says they are purchasing this house without a property disclosure. And then you got to sign it as a buyer's agent. Actually, let's go up to the buyer. Date. They don't require us to use date and time, so you can use either one. Some people just like to do the date and time stamp. Some states require it. And then we know the contract is all signed, so I can breeze through that. And then it's signed there. Wire fraud is signed. This is the owner's receipt of, so the seller has to sign this. And that's it. So when you learn these documents, you'll know how many pages each document are, but on the right-hand side here, all these little blue pens mean that these pages were signed. So this page I know is only the seller has to sign it, so it wouldn't need a blue pen. This is the sales contract, so every page should have an initial on it. This next thing is, what's this? This is the property seller's disclosure. So only the last two pages need to be signed. This is the lead paint disclosure. So I know both pages need to be signed. So you can kind of see that. And that I didn't miss anything. So, and that's a consumer information statement. And you can also just scroll back up through the whole document and see if you missed anything. And I know that I did it right, so that's good. Then you just hit send, contract of sale, and then you type a message. I usually, if you create your own template in here, like for a sales contract, and you type a message, every time you use that template, your message will appear for the whole document. So I created my own contract of sale template, so that way I don't have to type a message every single time. But the message I would type would be something like this. Hi, congratulations. Wait, no, not congratulations, because it's not signed yet.
Yeah.
So, hi, here is the purchase agreement we discussed. Please choose a, gotta spell choose right, a signature style and click I agree. On, let's see, left side, click blue start button. Left side, I gotta spell left. Right, stutter there. Left side, click blue start button. Click each blue shaded area to initial and sign where indicated. Any questions, give me a call. And I put my phone number. Then you hit send. Okay, so it was sent. So you're going to get the option to sign now. I would suggest to do that because it gives you the option to look at the contract to make sure you didn't screw up anything before they open it and sign it. But you're going to choose a signature style. Click I agree.
These signatures are very different than the old ones.
Are they?
Yeah.
Click start. And then this is where your buyer has the opportunity to read the contract. So if they say, oh, I want to read it, they can start the process and just move the mouse, the cursor, through the whole document, and they can actually read it if they want to. Very rarely do people read the contract, but they can read it. You could also go over it with them in a Zoom if you wanted to and go over it. In the old days, we used to sit down at a table and go over it with them at least the first time, because then they know what they're signing in for every contract thereafter. But so you're going to go through, everything is good. So I'm going to click that to sign. Oops. And then this is the buyer agency agreement. So we're going to go ahead and click next. Click next, hit sign. You actually have to click on a signature. If it's not a signature, you can click next. Submit. So here you can see, this takes you back to the digisign dashboard. This shows you the drafts sent or completed. So you can stop at any time and it'll always be in your drafts folder. And walk away, it doesn't matter. The completed ones are the ones that are obviously sent, and then there's a bunch of templates here. So Eric hasn't, oh, there they are. So these are all the templates. There's 5 pages of them, so you can kind of go through them all. So we're going to go to the sent. Let's say you realize that the buyer called you back and said, oh, you spelled my name wrong. You're like, oh, shoot. So you're going to go back into here. and you can click on edit or resend envelope. So if you click on correct envelope, it will null and void all signatures that are on it. But it won't, you won't have to do the whole putting the initials and signature in all the spots again. It'll just make you resend it. So I'm gonna go ahead and correct envelope, and then it opens it up. So what I misspelt, okay. So what I misspelled is the buyer's name. So I could just come here and fix it, and then hit next, and hit send again. And then it saved all my information, which is great. Then I'll just hit send for signatures. Then you have to sign it again because everything gets wiped out. Just click I agree. And then start. And submit. So it's sent again. So we're waiting for buyer Smith to sign it, and you're like, oh my God, I sent this over an hour ago. You know, so if you text them, after you always send it, I would always shoot a text and say, hey, I sent over contract for you to sign. And then if they don't get it, I always ask if it went to spam. Then if they didn't get it, go back in and look at their email address, make sure you did their email address. You can change this stuff here, and it won't affect anything. You won't have to redo a contract. So you can just make sure that you did their email correctly. Then you can hit resend. But you can also see in the history if they've opened it at least. So if you see, you know, their name here, you're like, all right, they opened it. So at least I know that they got it. But you might want to give them a little nudge and say, hey, I'm waiting for that contract. Did you get through it? They go, oh, no, I had to. My kids needed some help, so I'll come back to it later. So at least you can see that they opened it. Let's see this, for example, if Eric. No. How do you close this? There we go. But yeah, so it'll stay in your signed templates until it's been signed by everybody. So that's kind of it. Did you guys have any questions at all?
I'm all right on that, Condo.
Have you played in here yet, Jorge?
Yeah, I
Okay.
used that to get the CIS.
Oh, that's right.
An exclusive buyer.
Okay, good. I know it's a lot, especially if you haven't used it. So
I've been using it and I still get screwed up.
yeah.
And I'm not really that stupid.
Well, hopefully this was helpful, Lois.
It was because it's set up better than I, you know, in my head.
Yeah, you just got to remember you start in zip forms.
Yeah.
And you know, once you guys get a zip form template set up, it'll just make it so much easier for you going forward, because then all you have to do is copy that template and all that stuff is populated in, and all you have to put in is the buyer, the seller, and the listing agent, and everything else is all, and the numbers, and everything else is all filled out for you. So it just, you can get writing contracts really fast.
No, it sounds good.
Yeah, I have to go through here and clean this up. It's a little messy. Too many tests. So delete. And then once your deal gets accepted, you'll just go to click on this S in the upper right corner. Oops, no. How do I go back? I think this, I don't know what's supposed to be here on the left. Yeah, the EXP logo on the left is what it's supposed to be. And then you click on create a transaction once it's accepted, and you just start typing an address, and some of this stuff will populate in here for you. but you'll just have to choose a checklist type. So you would say New Jersey residential sale, you represent the buyer only, or if you're a seller and buyer. So even if you're representing the buyer only and it's a dual disclosed agent, I think you have to select you represent seller and buyer. I'm going to confirm that tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure it is. If for people that, if someone's mentoring you, put them in as a co-agent, and then further down it'll ask you what percentage. You can put 0% in there for the co-agent as when I'm mentoring you, Jorge. So just put in 0%, and that way I can access your account when you write it, when you have a deal. And then
Now
source.
all I need to put is just your name.
So you would do co-agent, and you put
Yeah.
Joe's name actually. So Joseph Burris.
Okay.
And oh, here that pops up. And you type Joseph Burris. Then you click on that.
So it will pop up like that though. It's not just something I'm typing in.
Nope, it pops up.
Okay.
Yeah, a second screen pops up, so it's kind of weird. So purchase. So you need anything that has an asterisk on it, you need it. And the year built one isn't, I a lot of times don't put in the exact year. I know if it's built before 1978, it needs a lead-based paint. So like I sell a lot of 1920s and 30s homes, so I won't look it up. I'll just put 1925 because it just wants to make sure that the checklist knows if it needs a lead paint. Source, personal referral. Office lead, no, office doesn't give us leads. An acceptance date is the date that it gets signed by all parties. And then the closing date, whatever the closing date is in the contract. I'm going to teach you a little trick on the closing date. If you every transaction you do, they're going to give you they call it commission disbursement agreement, which is we call it a commission bill in the old days. So they do it about 2 weeks before closing. So if you want to get your commission bill earlier, I would put your closing date a couple weeks early, and then just change it back after you get your commission bill dispersed. That way it's in your file. And all those things, when I get back.
Why would you want to do that?
A lot of title companies and attorneys ask you for a closing bill early.
Oh, okay.
So I just like to have it and be done with it. Log out of Joe, log out of Eric. So manage, I'm gonna go to manage listings. So the commission statement thing would appear in your documents tab. You just click on documents and it would be in here. We don't have this report as under contract, so ours won't be here, but it would say commission disbursement right here, and that's where you would find it. But they usually send it to the attorney for you, but sometimes they don't get it. And then the checklist, you get this for each deal, and you'll upload documents to it, and we'll walk you through all that. You get a checklist for every transaction. Any questions?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, when you get an actual deal, we'll hold your hand, but I want you at least to have the basics down so you know where to start. And you're like, all right, I know I start in zip forms. That's where everything starts. So
Don't
that's where you'll-
hesitate. He's a good hand holder. Good hand holder.
You got it. All right, well, if you guys need anything else, give me a holler. And then next week, we're going to move this to our meetings to 5 o'clock. and we'll go over, not sure what we're gonna go over next week. Probably some MLS hot sheets and stuff like that, so you guys can get all that stuff figured out.
John, quick question.
Yes,
You did say you post these videos on the EXP website or your,
I'll post them on my Team J&J Facebook group.
okay.
Yep, I'll post it there. Let me see, I gotta stop recording. Hopefully it recorded. If not,
You
I'll
said
make
you
sure
did.
yeah, I thought I did. Oh yeah, it's recording, I see it, okay. All right, you guys have
Can
a
I
good
talk
night.
to you
And
for a little bit?
Have a good
what
night.
was, okay,
All right,
Johnny?
John, thanks a lot, man. I'll talk to you later.
all right, no problem. What's up, Lois?
What?
Did you need something, Lois?
Yeah, I just want to give you an update on my deal. Because the home inspector required a tank sweep, which the attorney